You've got a bullet on there that I've led to a question earlier that I didn't ask about the vulnerability, interference, and jamming. As you start to get a bunch of these things out there, are they going to start interfering with each other as far as like the radar and stuff like that?
Thanks for bringing this up, because that's actually a big thing in our radar system. I have driven, I don't know, I'm sure you may have had that experience on Highway 5 when there's a heavy fog rolls in.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have more than 20 or 50 meter visibility.
Right.
Basically what it does is that, okay, your cameras and your LiDARs are useless in those kind of...
And your eyes are useless.
Exactly. So we are going to have to rely on the radar. And everybody's radars are on, and there are many cars. So it's like 24/7 your radars are on. And, I had to deal with that in my previous company, Quantenna, which, we had the first 4x4 MIMO in the world, and then the first 8x4.
For Wi-Fi. So this is allows you to do better Wi-Fi.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's so many. If one of the biggest rollout issues with Wi-Fi is interference from your neighbors, and especially in apartment complex, you turn on your Wi-Fi and you see 30, 50, access points are all on. So how do you? And that's a very difficult problem to solve. So I've looked at that problem many times before. And so the reason our system works so well, it's because of a wide aperture and it's multi-band, and the way we've designed the signaling, it's really resistant. So we can get 70 times better resiliency compared to current systems. That is quite a bit. In other words, today's system, the way they work, the 77 gigahertz are FMCW, and they ramp frequency up and down, and that generate radar the target information and also speed information. And you hope that you can coordinate at the time that you do your ramp, your neighbor or the other car,
doing it at the same time.
They do it at the same time. So you can jump around and do things to avoid collision, but if there are many of them on at the same time, there's only so much jumping you can do. Then you run into, okay, now there's not enough time for me to stay quiet.
Yeah.
The other ones. So I think that is one of the kind of the issues of today's radar technology. I think Intel through Mobileye, they decided to go to digital modulation, which actually I think is the right thing to do. But everyone right now is in a single band. And their aperture is pretty small. And there are a lot of issues for calibration that, in fact, we solved that phase array calibration quite a bit. So the radars are absolutely necessary. I think Elon Musk would be happy to hear that. but they have their own issues, and their own issues is how to avoid collision.
Speaking of radar, I know in the aviation world, the C-band
for 5G use may
cause interference. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective, in the frequency bands you're using, are those going to be protected enough from other uses, right? Or would there be a potential issue there?
Right now, the 4 bands that we're using is low, microwave band and then low millimeter band that are already been allocated for digital modulation and use by FCC. So I don't think we're going to run out of taking them out. So, for example, in UHF and all the garage door openers are using them.
Oh, so it's the 900 megahertz or something type.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You got it. And so, at least based on what we know, we don't know how future laws are going to be put forward. But based on what we know, we're good.
Okay, that's good to hear. And the other aspect of this too is you have redundancy in the sense that you've also got the LiDAR, you've got the cameras.